Hey everybody, Dustin Dopirak here with former intern, current freelancer, and almost college graduate, Provost-Heron. Back here at Neyland Stadium, figured we'd do this one more time for the orange and white game. 67,027 today, they said. Supposedly the third most well-attended orange and white game of all time. And they saw a team really that doesn't look anything like the team that they saw win the Outback Bowl, and they would hope nothing like the team that they will see open up the season on September 3rd against Appalachian State. Lots of injuries, a lot of guys out, a lot of missing players this spring. More or less a long shot from what a SEC football team looks like, really.
And I think with so many injuries, and there not being a game because you can't really form a full roster with that, the game just kind of had no pace, and it was just kind of really weird to watch. But I think that's why the crowd started thinning out around the second half and stuff like that. But I think it also gave you some pretty good barometers of what you could see from this team in 2016.
Yeah, there's a few things that worked. I mean, obviously there was so much missing. You know, so much of the defensive line was gone. So many of the wide receivers were gone. Alvin Kamara and Jalen Hurd were kind of there, kind of not. Basically, I mean, they were whenever they were out there, it was basically two-hand touch. Butch Jones was not putting those precious commodities in any kind of danger whatsoever. So those guys really, barely got touched today. That they were not out here to put on a show. I think the thing that suffered the most, I think, was the passing game, just because Juwan Jennings out, Vincent Perry out, Josh Smith out, Josh Malone out all spring. Preston Williams, Cody Blank, Jeff George were the only scholarship wide receivers that were healthy today. Can you get any sense of anything from the passing game based on what you saw?
I think you can get something, and I thought it was the offensive line. With so many defensive linemen being out, it seemed like Dormady and Dobbs were just under siege the entire day. And that's problematic for me, especially when you don't have the best guys out there rushing the passer.
That's a good point, and I would say that the defensive line sort of second wave was pretty, and I thought they were pretty strong all spring. Corey Vereen missed a lot of practices because he had a class conflict during the week, so he mostly only practiced on Saturdays and mostly took Tuesdays and Thursdays off. But he was pretty dominant.
Yes.
I think almost every Saturday he was pretty impressive, and today in particular he had a sack, another tackle for loss. He was in the quarterback's face all day, I thought.
Yeah, and I think, when you look at what he did last year at the end toward there, when he was always getting to the quarterback, I think that kind of gave him some confidence heading into the spring, despite not being able to be there.
And I think that matters for Corey Vereen because he's going to be in a battle. Certainly with Jonathan Kongbo coming in, I think everybody expects him to be able to start right away. Big-time junior college player, highest-rated junior college player on the board, and a huge get for Tennessee. Corey Vereen doesn't seem like he's willing to just hand his position over to the new guy. Certainly you have to expect that Derek Barnett is going to be on one of those sides when he gets back and when he's healthy. But Vereen was really playing for it. I think also that Troy Lewis apparently had a really good spring. They were Bob Shoop was very happy with what he got from him. Butch Jones also praised him a lot today. He seems just the same solid that Troy Lewis you're used to seeing. Doesn't necessarily get in the backfield a lot, but holds his edge, does a pretty good job of making the plays that he's supposed to make, so he was pretty solid. Darrell Taylor, I think, did a pretty decent job as a pass rusher. He missed some time a little bit with an ankle thing, but he got back in there and he was pretty effective. And Charles Foldry, who had to move to the outside because they were missing Demaria Nixon was out too. I don't think we saw him out the whole time, but Folger stepped in there and had a sack. So with those guys being your defensive end rushers, it does, I think, speak poorly for what the offensive line, which is mostly healthy, was able to do against those guys. So that's not necessarily good news. Alvin Kamara and Jalen Hurd not getting a lot of carries, that means John Kelly did. I thought he had an impressive spring, and I thought he had an impressive day.
Yeah, he was fantastic. Got into the second level a lot. I think that 27-yard run for me really stuck out. Made a few guys miss and really turned it on there. I think he is a really good back, and I think Butch was talking about it today. It's just kind of unfortunate that Alvin and Jalen are here because I think he'd be a starter in a lot of other places.
No, I think so, totally. I mean, I don't know that you'd call it unfortunate necessarily, but people are going to find out about John Kelly in 2017. They're not going to know, maybe he rushes for 100, 200 yards this year, if he's lucky, if he gets that many carries, catches a few passes, maybe you see a glimpse, maybe he gets a big play in garbage time or something like that. But you're not really going to know too much about John Kelly until it's his job, when he's a junior, presuming, of course, that Jalen Hurd and Alvin Kamara both come out after next year, which I think a lot of people are expecting because when you're a running back, you only have so many carries in you. But I think people are going to find out about John Kelly in 2017 and wonder where's this guy been. And the fact is he's been this good and improving pretty swiftly the entire time that he's been in camp so far. I thought one more guy, Preston Williams. I think he's really the one receiver that you're going to imagine being able. Maybe Jeff George can serve a purpose for this team, but Preston Williams has a chance to be a star wide receiver. I think he showed up pretty well and made a couple big plays today.
Yeah, and he could be the star that Tennessee's kind of been missing in the passing game in the last couple of years. He had that nice 39-yard catch down the sideline, and it seemed like he was able to constantly get open down the field, which is something that Tennessee just hasn't had over the last couple of years.
Yeah, and they've got to be able to connect on that too. Dobbs is still kind of figuring out the deep ball. I mean, he's mostly accurate in the intermediate routes, but the deep ball mostly hasn't been there except for that one 75-yard touchdown to Malone last year. It's kind of the only time you've really seen him connect on one of those deep balls, but it gets a lot easier when you have a guy beating press coverage and beating it badly, and I think Williams is a guy who's capable of doing that, of running away from somebody where they haven't necessarily had a guy capable of doing that in the past. So get straight to the point, basically. Troy, how good is this team going to be in 2016? What's your record prediction?
Yeah, I mean, I won't be here to see it, but I think they lose just to Alabama. I think that's their only regular season loss, and I think I think they win the East. I think they make the SEC championship. I don't know what they do in the SEC championship. Obviously, that would depend a lot on Alabama if they get there.
Right.
And I think they would lose to Alabama in the SEC championship game. But I mean, you just look at everything they have and everything that's still yet to get here. They have a really talented team. It'd be crazy for me to think that any of those teams other than Alabama could beat them.
Yeah, I'm mostly in the same boat. I mean, I think A&M will still be a difficult game on the road. Just with Knight coming in there and to some degree solving that quarterback issue. But you never know with those guys. And yeah, you still have to look at Alabama and say that's. They're defending champs. There's so much talent coming back. You never want to presume anyone's going to beat Alabama. But after that, you have to think Tennessee will be favored in just about every other game they play. It's got a chance to be a really exciting year. There's 5 months until it starts. So hang in there. Spend your summer grilling, forget about it for a while, and then we'll be back here on September 3rd. Thanks, everybody.